Hey everybody, I'm Kate Buck Jr. from Social Media Pro, where we work with individuals just like yourself who want to turn their digital skills into cash. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the 5 steps to recover from any business breakup. Now, before we jump in, let's get clear on the goal of this process. This is a process just for yourself and your own well-being to help you move on after any business or, well, any breakup, really. So let's get started. Step number 1, if you took a risk or went outside of your comfort zone on this project, no matter how it turned out, you should congratulate yourself for doing what most people will never do. Step number 2, find at least 3 things that you can be grateful for about this experience. Not everything that happened during this experience was bad. Consider the things that you enjoyed, things that you've benefited from, things that you learned that you can be grateful for. How did this help you grow? What opportunities did it provide for you? And did you learn new things? So find 3 things that you can be grateful for. That's step number 2. Now, in step number 3, I want you to do an audit of this experience that you had, of this business partnership or this relationship. Look for where you can take responsibility for how it turned out. The idea is knowing what you know now, what could you have done differently to create a different, maybe better outcome. Now, step 4 is a bit of a carry on from step 3, and that is don't get stuck in the woulda, shoulda, coulda. So while you are looking back and knowing what you know now to see where your decisions, your actions could have been different and could produce a different outcome, you don't want to get in the lamenting and what I call the woulda, shoulda, couldas, right? So you don't want to get stuck being sad or wishing things had turned out differently, because the truth is you don't have a time machine. Where you are now, you cannot go back in time and fix all of those things that you're now seeing. But what you can do is learn from those experiences, make sure that you take them with you into the future with future clients. So next time you find yourself in a similar position, then you can recall what you learned from your past experience, and this time maybe make a new decision or a different decision and act differently. That's how we learn from our past mistakes. We go into new experiences and we try a different route, see how it turns out that time. Step number 5, do not play the blame game. This is not about the other person, what they did, what they said, because you and I both know that you cannot control another person's actions. You can't control how they think, how they feel, what they say, or what they do. This is not about the blame game. And if you find yourself during your audit getting stuck there, come back home and remind yourself this is about looking to see what you could have said or done differently that would have made a difference in the outcome. I have a great example of what it means to be 100% responsible for something. And if you take a moment after this video, of course, go Google the press releases that were sent out by the teams of both Will Smith and Chris Rock after the Oscars incident. When you read them, you'll see that both parties said, I acted in a way that I shouldn't have. And if I hadn't acted that way, perhaps the outcome would have been different. Here's a situation where there's 2 people involved. Both people recognize that if their behavior had been different, the outcome would have been different. That's just one example to show you that it doesn't really matter whose fault it is for a situation happening. You always changing your behavior will always change the outcome. Now, I have a bonus step for you, and this one is definitely optional. It may not even be required in your particular situation. The bonus step is this. After you've looked back and you found the things that you're grateful for, you've audited your behavior to see what you could have done differently, staying away from the blame game, staying away from the woulda, shoulda, coulda, celebrating the fact that you took a leap and did something new, you might find that you feel compelled or it's appropriate to reach out to the other person and clean things up with them. Let me be clear what I mean by that. This is not an attempt to get them to say anything or to even respond to you. As a matter of fact, part of this process may not involve you actually even sending any communication to them. It might just mean that you say it quietly to yourself. Maybe you have some forgiving of them or you to do, or maybe you do send them a letter and and you do tell them that you're grateful for the opportunity, what you learned along the way, that you are sorry for the way that things ended, maybe that you see that there are some decisions that you made that you, knowing what you know now, you would make a different decision in the future, and that you appreciate the opportunity to have worked with them or to have been given the opportunity to take on this project, and wishing them well. Now, once again, this is all about completion for you so that now you have a clean slate to move on to your next project. And you're not carrying anything for yourself where you're feeling not good enough, not worthy enough, like a failure. Or if you have some negative energy towards the other person, maybe you feel like it's all their fault and you have this negative energy, you don't want to carry those types of energies on to your next project. So the whole purpose of this process is to really get complete with what happened and start a blank, fresh slate to move on to your next project. So I hope you got a lot out of this video. If you enjoyed it and you want to learn more about how to work with clients, how to maybe find more clients, what to charge those clients, of course, how to work with them and build relationships with them, and how to deliver services, then I invite you to check out my social media manager training at socialmediapro.com. See you in the next video.